We're live.
All right, we're going to call this meeting to order. First item is the discussion and approval of the halt traffic signal for the new fire station. You received that packet, I believe. You should have it in front of you. You understand this is some timely stuff that needs to be done because of that we need to approve because of the lead time on getting some of this built. Is that correct, Trey?
Yes, sir.
So I guess I'll turn it to you on that to discuss what we need to discuss, and we'll vote on.
Sure, yeah, I appreciate you coming together today, and sorry for the late notice, but this GDOT permit has been pretty difficult, mainly because, and I do have a graphic if you're interested in looking at it, but there's a traffic signal that will aid the firefighters. When there is a fire, it's a push-button control that will stop traffic in every direction on Highway 19 so the fire engines can get out safely. And permitting was difficult mainly because of the location for the strain pole on the opposite side. And Ms. Deanne and I have been working exhaustively on that for quite a while. We got everything worked out. Then the permit had to go back to GDOT. But the reason this was procured separately from the actual fire station project is specifically because of that delay. So we finally got the permit last week. And as we started checking around with contractors, as is the case in almost all materials right now, there's a long lead time on the strain poles. And when Russell told me that council wouldn't meet until next month, I asked if we could have an emergency or a called meeting so that we could get this moving forward. We did go out to 3 contractors. Hopefully you were forwarded the bid amounts. This is a turnkey project based on the plan that we submitted to each of them. And the low bidder was $79,550. And my recommendation is that we would go with the low bidder here and get the project moving. So this will be separate from the fire station, but obviously is involved. The lead time on just the strain poles was 6 months, and that's right about the time the fire station is going to be finished. So with your permission, Ms. Wheeler and I would work towards getting a quick contract signed and get the materials on order.
Is there any FEMA money available here since this is a fire prevention? Do we have any FEMA grant money available for us in this?
No grant money, but I do think that if you so chose that the money that is coming in from the federal government for COVID relief would be applicable if you so chose to utilize that for it.
And we kind of found today could be a little bit extra
Yeah, I was told today that our money should be up to 3.2 or 3.3 from 2.7, I think was the original number. So there's about a $500,000 increase over what we originally thought. We filled out all the documents for that, turned in all the paperwork this week. According to Mr. Jacobs of GMA, we should have they'll pay us half of that, so 1.6 or 7 million next week, and then the rest of it in 2021, is my understanding.
And this cost was probably included in that budget anyway? It was not?
Not in the fire fund, the construction budget, I don't believe.
Yeah, I think
Because
y'all.
kind of come a little bit after the fact. We realized we may need a signal. I think it was kind of.
Now, in the meantime, I could pull that money that we have on the bond to borrow. It's just at some point in time, we'll have to adjust the budget. It wasn't in the budget, but the money's there. I mean, I could use this money, but we wouldn't have to pay for this, right, Trey, until they got done. So you'd be toward the end of the project anyway, right?
Correct. I mean, it'll be
Yeah,
6
so we'd
months,
have
7 months.
our money from the government.
Yeah, yes.
Well,
Yeah, exactly.
Isn't there a contingency? And I know we did something in the construction phase, and the construction bidding on, or budget-wise, on the firehouse construction. Didn't we do something with the contingency?
There is a contingency in there. I don't remember the exact amount, but
So
there
that
was.
could be used, I guess.
Yeah, that's right. And we're just gonna have to get closer to time
Right.
and see kind of what we have left and where we were.
So there's no budget amendment at this point?
No, no budget amendment at this time. What we may do, right, I'm trying to get through the end of June done and come back to y'all with mid-year budget amendments, because we've done a couple of things this year we probably need to amend on. And we may look at this at that time and see where it is.
So today we just needed an approval to go with the low bid
That's right.
on this, so we can get the materials ordered and
I make a motion, we approve the expense for the traffic signal.
A motion, I got a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, let's call for a vote.
Councilmember Greathouse.
Aye.
Councilmember Middlebrooks.
Yes.
Councilmember Tucker.
Yes.
Councilmember Reeves.
Yes.
Councilmember Head.
Yes. Do we just need to mention them by name, though?
Uh,
Redwood Young.
Well, the lowest, I think I said lowest bid, but okay, Redwood.
Redwood LLC.
Okay.
That is done. Now we move on to other business. Is there anyone wants to discuss some other business at this time? Are we?
Well, I mean, I just wanted to at least talk a little bit about, I know that we've finished, voted on and signed the intergovernmental agreement regarding the improvements in the sewer and the transfer pipe. And it's my understanding that there is a need that,
I think what had happened, the county had, when they got it, they tabled the issue. There was some questions and stuff and they reached out about. But there's an immediate need, I guess you would call it, for some additional capacity for Renew out there. And that's what's kind of brought to a head that they need something that they've maxed out their current capacity, which is something that was tied into the whole contract thing. But since it's been tabled by the county, it's kind of, if they'd signed it, it went through and probably could have processed the permits and all that's needed to be done. But since there's a little hold up on that, it's kind of brought that to the forefront that they need something in the something.
so maybe Trey, you could explain to us a little bit about the process necessary to get to the point. Obviously.
And two, it's capacity issues on stuff that's inside our service district now, regardless of a contract that so that is an administrative decision from our administrative staff, not a council decision. We don't go and say, Ryan's got a new business. Yeah, we're gonna give Ryan more capacity, but Jeff's going, well, no, that's not really a council decision. That is more of an administrative day-to-day decision. But this one kind of being a little bit different because it's tied into a certain capacity we're giving to the IDA, which the IDA is saying they can use some of that capacity for this additional Renew. Has made that kind of a little complicated
And
a little bit.
additionally to that, though, there's a process to show that they have got the proper processes set up to do that. Yes, and I don't know that we're that far down the road.
Yeah,
I don't know that we've received a request for
I think
it.
we received just an email saying that Renew was interested in another 15,000 gallons. Right now they're at 10,000 gallons.
Okay.
But and if I recollect, the going from 10 plus 15 takes us to 25,000 gallons a day. And I believe that's a very different situation. That takes you from being kind of a small industrial user to a significant industrial user. And there's a lot of additional testing that's required, but also we would require a submittal packet to be given to us that's showing us that they understand all the requirements for becoming a significant industrial user, and more importantly, that their pretreatment facilities be capable of getting the amount of treatment that they would need to be able to send us 25,000 gallons and meet our headworks requirements. Or our local limit requirements, and to date, I have not received that, but I do think that it's been kind of stuck in kind of a procedural limbo, mainly just because been working on this agreement, and right now it still isn't signed. Russell did respond on April 13th back to the county manager, just explaining that there is the one pathway that we could take, which would be sign the agreement and we're ready to roll. Then the Industrial Development Authority would have the power to be, under our new agreement, would have the power to be able to grant their capacity that was given in the agreement to Renew for this expansion. The other option, which Russell stated on April 13th, is that they could pay the cost share of that particular 15,000 gallons, which Russell works out in this email, what that amount would be, and that basically we would hold that in escrow with good faith that this county and the city were going to sign this agreement, and therefore Renew would be able to go ahead and start discharging if we were holding that, assuming all in good faith that this thing's going to get signed. And so that is, those options were given to the county a few months ago,
Okay.
and to date, I don't think anything. I think that the point was they were going down the route of trying to get it signed in time for Renew to be able to discharge to us, but that hasn't happened, and to my knowledge, they have not come back to Russell or anyone here that, okay, let's go with the other option, nor have they offered a third option.
So it sounds like we've got the path set up. They've
Sure
got-
seems like it.
They've got the options, but also in addition, so the ball's really in the county's hands right now. There's two options that can get you there. In essence, the escrow payment, so we can get there, or sign the document. But also, there's some additional work that needs to, going from 10 to 25 puts them, not a small user, but a significant user, and there's a procedural path that they need to get in so that we can get all that approved and know they're capable and responsible to be able
So
to.
even if, like you say, even if the county signed the agreement today or even signed that check today, there's still another step.
Yeah,
That
right.
they
And that
have to
could
come
be
back. I mean, that could be, yeah,
expedited.
true.
What kind of timeline are you looking on that, Trey?
Well, I mean, honestly,
Round
I
number.
don't remember, and I could go back and check. This just kind of came up today, at least in my court. I don't recall what their pre-treatment facility was capable of. If they designed it for 10,000 and now they've got to expand the facility to get to 25,000, it'll be a significant amount of work on their side to get us to where we can give them the thumbs up. If it is, it could be they designed it for 25 or 30,000 gallons a day, in which case it should be just them resubmitting, showing us what their plan is, and us approving it. It could be as short as a day or as long as, if it's on their side, I couldn't even guess.
But we've got done what we need to do.
As far as I know.
And the IDA has also voted to allow that 15,000 to come out of the 150,000.
That's right,
been
just as
voted
soon
on.
as the contract
Soon as
is
the
signed.
As
contract
soon as the contract is signed.
is
And
signed.
that is part of the contract.
Right.
It's in there,
It's
as
in-
well as the purchase price for that 15,000 that Renew is requesting, in the event that portion of the agreement is abandoned.
Yeah. And to date, there seems to be some confusion about exactly what the hardships that the county saw with the contract. I mean, I think there's been an email, but I think we just need to get back around the table and make sure that any of their concerns are addressed.
Would it be prudent, I mean, have you heard from the county's council
I have
as to
not
whatever
heard
their
from-
concerns
I have
are or
not
may be?
At all heard from their attorney. I think there's been some comments made to different people.
So when are we
about-
gonna pull the trigger on this?
It sounds like it's
Sure,
in
it's in
the,
our-
it's
Yeah,
in
so-
the county's hands, right?
Here's kind of the way I understand it from the beginning. So we did the agreement. There were some changes made right before y'all voted on the agreement the other night. But those were discussed with the county manager. Russell went down. I remember when he went down and talked to Jason, came back, everything was fine. They were not significant and we made it. So then the county, we knew all this time that we had Renew in the background needing this capacity, and we're making arrangements that nobody had, to my knowledge, had said, here are the specifics. So yesterday, I get a call from the chairman that says, it's my understanding Renew is trucking effluent out of there. Please tell me they're not having to do that. And I said, well, I don't know what they're having to do, because So I called Brian Kelly at our plant, and then I called Russell. We didn't have any acknowledgement of that, no knowledge. They were just reading the contract, knew they were at their 10,000 gallons, and they're doing something with the rest to do that. So then the county has come back saying, well, is there anything y'all can do to let them so they don't have to truck it off? And we're kind of back to, well, we did the agreement, we voted on it, y'all either need to vote on it, or we can hold a check in escrow. And then, like you said, then there's another whole piece of this, which is what can their plant do. But we didn't until, my knowledge yesterday, and it was about 1:30 when I got the first call, didn't really know that this was that big. Like, we knew Renew needed more capacity, but I didn't know they needed it last week, right? We knew it was kind of coming, and the IDA, we had voted, and we were kind of marching down this path, but But yeah, that's kind of, so all of a sudden it's blown up to where it's a big deal.
But everybody knew from the beginning that Rainey's request for the 15,000 additional was going to be addressed in the contract.
Yes.
And would have to be agreed upon. That was not a surprise at all. In addition to that, we've had numerous versions of this contract. It's evolved over the last several months, and I say 6-7 months maybe. And at each time it was changed, I've got at least 5 or 6 dates specific where it was sent to county manager. I would even highlight the changes so it was easily accessible, and these are the changes we've made. And so before our last meeting, they had a copy that the changes that some of the changes that they're pointing to. First of all, one of them that they say a provision that's not in there actually is in there.
It is in there. Yeah.
But some of the things that they're saying was not in there is in May the 29th version of it. And those changes came from a conversation that Russell had with the county manager on the 28th, which was Friday, and I remember because I came up and talked to Russell about it. And when I came into his office, he was down with the county manager talking to him about how we were going to, do the lift stations and the facility costs. And he came back to me, and we were kind of laughing because he drew it out. And he said, "Can you put this in words?" But he and the county manager had actually looked at it and said, "Okay, I get it." So that's where we went from there. So.
Yeah, I think it was a mutual aid with fire protection, which I think was in there that you say. And then there was something with the West Morris Crossing lift station. And then I guess the liability issues with something with the capacity, should EPD come and amend or somehow adjust our capacity in a negative way. Kind of that framework, from what I understand, was new to the game since, I guess, the last discussion. And I said, well, I don't know. I can't speak to who discussed what when.
Yeah, and Ryan, let me just say that I think the deal with the EPD 7.9 in there says, in the event the city's permitted capacity is altered by the EPD for a reason, so as to reduce the permitted capacity currently allowed, any capacity which has been granted to the IDA but not yet allocated to an industry or consumer will be suspended until such time the city and county can renegotiate capacity. I mean, that's anything anybody would want.
Right.
The EPD has stepped in, made an adjustment. Okay, well,
It's affecting our capacity too.
it's affecting our capacity, but this is not yet allocated to any industry or consumer.
Right.
We're not hurting any customer.
Just going
And I think
forward kind of thing.
That's right. That's just, to me, that's an easy, I think that's something that the county will agree they would want if it were there. So I think it's just, when I say that there may be some additional changes that may have come after that, but I think they're easily understood and why that they're there. I think we're all feel like we want to encourage industry and development in this town and county. I think the county also wants to encourage that. We've done in fact, it looks like you're going back to April. Since April, we've done what we need to do. We've provided 2 paths. One in either, when you sign the agreement, well, that's taken a little while to get done, but it's now done. And 2, here's an alternative path that I think what we're looking at is in the future, we'll need to share some of these costs and the liability, and that's easily understood. So I think we've done what we need to do. It's my opinion.
Dan, would it make sense to try to iron out whatever questions that may still be out there, and maybe reach out to Pascal and say, hey, we want to figure out a time ASAP next week. I know Jason's on vacation, so he'll be back Monday, and I know Russell would engage whenever it was convenient for him.
He said don't let him be out of town because he can jump on phone.
Yeah.
FaceTime, some new Zoom or something.
So I would say that we say, hey, let's all pick a mutually agreeable date sometime next week, address whatever there is, let them have a chance to look at it and digest it, and if we need to have another call meeting to approve any changes, should there be any, we'll do it. I mean, you know, to go ahead and, I think we gotta get this thing buttoned up and put to bed and move on. I certainly want to, you know, provide Renew with what they need, but we, like Doug said, we've all said that we've addressed that very concern succinctly in that agreement, and I think that we.
And then the other option, if the agreement didn't get
Yeah,
signed
if
in
you can't
time,
do it,
there's a back door,
Right.
the way to
That's
fix
right,
that problem.
and we'll all, you know, agree to that, and then we'll do our part once the agreement's signed in good faith and release the money back to them. So-
But there is this additional step as.
Oh, yeah, sure,
Trey
that's-
has made, and that's something that Renew's gotta get done.
And I told them, you know, today that I don't know what that additional, could it be the same effluent? Could it be a different effluent? I don't know what we can handle and what we can't. So I said, we gotta get our city engineer involved in that, because that's certainly above my head.
I'd also just mention to you that just reviewing the email that I've seen between the county manager, city manager, and Kyle, IDA chair, no, what is she? Director and Renew, is it sounds like they were saying that they'd like to know something in 60 days, which would be a few days from now.
Well, so that's almost what I wonder, is like the county said, hey, we got time to look at this agreement, we'll take a look at this, you know, when Russell gets back, and then all of a sudden we found out Renew's already going a different path, so now it's an emergency, when it really,
Prior to his
Yeah.
own request for how quickly the county and the city would handle this, we're still within the 60 days, just by a few days, but if they're already hauling, I'm not sure that we ought to be too
Right.
surprised. It's before he was even asking for an answer,
Good point.
just to let you know.
that's the way I understood, like it all blew up yesterday, like it was a big thing, that they probably didn't really know about, or they probably would have handled the agreement differently, maybe in the last meeting, I
I
don't
mean,
know.
I think we try to maybe offer that up as a remedy, maybe, so to try to meet this deadline, or at all possible, get close, but I mean, I think we gotta, you know, finish up this agreement and work within the confines of this.
Well, and I can work the other side of it, which is contacting Mr. Adrian and just saying, if you're serious about doing this, however it needs to go, we need a package from you guys requesting a permit
Yesterday.
increase, yeah, for sure, and how you're going to do it and what's that going to look like. So, because we will have to go through a permitting process locally, not with EPD, to get that permit.
I will handle the contract any way you want me to. The way the approach I've taken so far is that we've done the work in the contract. We've given it to them. They've given us a preliminary, just a small response. You know, these are the sections we don't like, but nothing specific. And until they let me know that,
Sure.
I really don't know where to go.
So in essence, we're
Understand.
waiting for a response with some specificity of, tell us, you know.
Strike this paragraph, put this in instead, or something like that.
What we would like.
Yeah, what they would like to do.
negotiate. You know, it needs to be a proposal that we can consider.
Or maybe just simply follow them and say, hey, you're still waiting on, you're just checking in kind of thing. Just to, and no, I mean, I want to help Renew if we can. I mean, I do, but I think we need to do it all at one time.
And I think we all do. I think the county does, I think we do. And, you know, Deanne and Russell have been working on this hard.
No, they-
And multiple renditions of it. And so I think we're obviously where I think the city wants to be. But now we're waiting for their response. But we're also know that Renew has a need. And I think we all want to accomplish that for them as we would anybody. But there's a responsibility on their part to make sure that they're all set up to be able to handle that additional effort.
I think that's out there, what we need to do, what we're waiting on, and
So what's the plan, what do we want to do? And then just, what's the plan going forward?
I guess it's out there that if they're really needing it, they need to get the information.
So you're gonna reach out to Adrian?
And then the two options on allowing it, if it's works out like that, would be the sign a contract that if we can get something signed quickly, I don't know how long it's gonna take to get all this stuff. If they, either that or the other option would be paying that from the county and us holding it until.
Sure.
What is the
Did-
deadline? What deadline on it?
On what?
Can have it in
I
You have
think
a
that,
deadline on it?
you talking about the 60 days I
Yes,
mentioned?
uh-huh.
That was just, I think that Russell and Kyle reached back out to Adrian and said, hey, how quick do you need an answer on this capacity? And he said, well, 60 days, which would be a few days from now.
June the, what's the?
You have a specific
Yeah,
date?
30
13th.
days, what?
Yeah, exactly, exactly, 30 days.
But I just want also, maybe we let him know that, we don't have to wait till Russell gets back to sit down and do this.
Right.
Yeah.
That if we need to patch him in whatever means, Zoom or on the telephone.
I mean, cause he's constantly.
Whatever,
getting-
yeah, I mean, he said he was
him running
riding.
every day, so.
So, I mean, I think we offer that. We don't have to wait till the end of June to address their concerns, but they just need to let us know what those are, between you and their council.
I'll handle the engineering permitting side of it, you handle the
Right.
contract side of it.
And what I'm hearing is that's gotta be done before we can even
That's
do
right.
anything else, so.
Well, I mean, if we're in a big hurry and, I mean, it may not take very long. I'll call Adrian on my way home and just see, because I don't remember, it's been a while since I reviewed that pretreatment facility. I just don't remember what they designed it for. I wouldn't be surprised if they didn't design it knowing this phase
knowing
was
it's
coming. I would hope they would.
But I think all along they had a grand scheme of larger stuff.
And I may be crazy, but for some reason I felt like when they originally came to us, it was in the like 25 to 30,000 gallon per day range. And I think when all that question about capacity under the old agreement came up, they said, let's just get 10 now and we'll come back later, I think is the way I remember it, because they were working off that 68,000.
Well, the 68,000 was within the park, and then Rainier built really right outside the park, and they needed just 10, and so we came back and agreed to 10
Let's just do the
additional,
10.
just to
Yeah.
Rainier.
I bet you they built that pre-treatment facility to handle it all. Otherwise, they'd be very worried right now. So,
That was in 95, I think, when we did the 10,000.
so assuming that's okay, our side of it won't be a holdup. I mean, certainly the long pole in the tent is going to be trying to figure out this
We
contract.
just kind of move it concurrent.
Yeah, we'll
just
get
over
parallel
it,
tracks
yeah.
going. So.
And from what I understood from the county was that they needed to have another work session to go over it. That may give them enough time, by the time you get the permit process done, they may have it back to us, I don't know.
Just whatever they feel like they need to do, but I think, and I'm sure Russell would feel the same, won't put word in his mouth, but I mean, I think we could get him on the phone and we don't necessarily have to wait. If it's, something that's got some concern out there, which sounds like it does, and rightfully so perhaps, but, I just want to let them know that we can certainly try to get together on there as soon as they are able to with their, concerns.
We gotta know with specificity
Yeah.
what those concerns
Yeah,
are.
sure.
Okay.
I think that's all.
All right, that's all we got. Is there any other business? If not, motion to adjourn.
Motion.
All in favor say aye. Turn your video.
We need to get the other one.
Yeah, just. Not a big deal, I need to go back on today.
Yeah, come here. That's right.